This is Matt for Into Boxing. Delighted to be joined by Ben Davison. Ben, we're here for Leigh Wood versus Michael Conlan. It's a cracking fight this to start the year.
Oh, brilliant fight, and I think that's shown by the turnout here. I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic turnout tomorrow. And obviously from what Eddie was saying there, the tickets are flying out, so well deserved so, yeah.
What do you make of the Conlans trying to almost get under yourself and Leigh's skin at the press conference? Obviously trying to throw a few jibes in there about you lie about this, lie about that. Is this just all part of the mind games for you and part of the show?
I think there's a very different thing between lying and being real. Very, very different, but it can often be a fine line. And did I say that if Leigh got it wrong, and it's the same thing going into this fight, Leigh gets it wrong, he can lose the fight. But Leigh is mentally strong enough to deal with that fact and understand that fact. Pressure can either create a diamond or it can burst a pipe. And if you're mentally strong enough, you know, you'll have a diamond, and the diamond being the performance. And that's what Leigh is. Leigh's mentally strong. I can tell him the truth, and he can deal with that. And that's part of what makes the diamond in being a performance. However, when you're in a tough situation or a big occasion or things like that, you get people around you that tell you what they think you want to hear, and the wrong thing to do is to listen to that. So, and the other one was the Josh Kelly David Avanesian thing, wasn't it? Like,
yeah.
There was no talk of Mick Conlan versus Leigh Wood around that fight time that I had ever heard of. So, you know, it wasn't even close. Heard anything about it, so I don't know where that one come from.
Not only that, but we talk about the champion having the hometown advantage, and he's got it in Nottingham. But you just mentioned their pressure with that going, oh, it's all right, I'll fight in front of my fans. There's an expectancy from them that Leigh will deliver because he's got that support. So that adds to it. So as much as it can be an advantage, it can also work against sometimes.
Well, it doesn't, depend on how you are mentally.
Yeah, mentally.
This is a huge occasion for Leigh Wood. Huge occasion. If he was mentally weak, of course, pressure can burst pipes. Or if you're mentally strong enough and can absorb it and use it as fuel, it can create a diamond. And you know, Leigh's over the moon to be here, and I know that they're banking on the pressure getting to Leigh, but Leigh's experienced, and that's the difference. He's very experienced and will use the pressure as he needs to.
And he 100% deserves to be on this big stage as champion after that performance against Kanzu, where many before that fight were writing him off, saying this guy's a monster. You know, we were going to get him versus Warrington, and he's an underdog, etc. But he performed, you know, excellently and managed to do the business in that fight. What do you make of Leigh since you've took him on? What improvements have you seen in him where he's managed to, you know, elevate himself a bit?
Well, before he came, he didn't really have a philosophy on boxing. I think he just get in there and do what comes, you know. Whereas he's really bought into the philosophy, which has allowed him to stick to game plans, which has been vital for him. As I say, when you get to a certain level, if you go about the fight the wrong way, you can lose the fight. I don't care who you are. And Leigh buying into the philosophy and understanding it and why he's doing certain things has been the main reason in why he's all of a sudden having this fantastic part of his career.
And it's like a bit of a broken record, this, but everyone's mentioning his power. Now, for you, the reason I say it's surprising, so you've worked with the likes of Tyson Fury, you've got Josh Taylor, these are all big punchers, and you've got Leigh who's apparently like hurting your hands while you're smashing the pads. Talk to me about that power, and is that something that surprised you when you took him on, maybe? Yeah,
of course. At first I thought, he can punch, but and then as the training went on, and he made a few adjustments, it was like, oh my God, I swear to God, at one point going into the fight, I thought he's broke my arm. I thought I can't keep up. I had to because he had a fight coming, but I thought he's broke my arm. I need a rest after this. I've genuinely thought he'd fractured my arm. Like, it still shocks me, it's ridiculous. If he does the right things, power will play out in this fight, but it's not the plan, it's not the whole thing. It's just an element of Leigh.
He was very keen to stress that to me when I brought power up to him. He says, look, I have got power, but there's more to it than that. It's not just going to be me looking for him, you know, it'll be other things, you know, your boxing ability, using his jab, etc. The other fight that this should lead on to, Josh Warrington, Kiko Martinez, the winner of that. What do you make of that fight? It's a rematch from many years ago, obviously a different stage of the careers now. How do you see that one playing out from, say, a trainer's point of view?
Yeah, obviously Kiko's got a bit of momentum behind him after the Kid Galahad victory, but I think that Josh Warrington, he'll have a bit too much, bit too fresh for. And to be honest with you, his training style and sparring wouldn't be too different to the Lara fight preparation he'd been having for quite some time. So I think that this fight suits him, and I think that Warrington will probably be the one to come out victorious.
Absolutely. Now, the heavyweight scene, obviously, everyone's talking about purse bids, etc. It's supposed to be due Friday. Eddie Hearn's not confident a deal gets done. If we see Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte, obviously you've trained Tyson, so it's almost a bit unfair going, oh, who do you think will win? But how do you see that fight playing out? Break that fight down for us.
I don't know, because Tyson's very versatile. So there's many ways he can go about that fight. It could become a very entertaining fight, or Tyson could make it more of a...
Boxing.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. All I know is it looks like at the moment there's 4 guys that are potentially going to box for all these belts. I don't care who fights who. 2 fight and the winners fight. As long as that happens, I'm happy.
Anthony Joshua's it's sort of conceived by everyone that he's going to be making an addition to his team, and potentially Rob McCracken maybe not be his trainer anymore. What do you make of that? And has he ever, come to you, approach you with anything about doing a bit and seeing how you work or anything like that?
No, he's not approached me. But the thing is, I think that everybody, sort of most known coaches, have shared their opinion on what they think. To a small detail, it's very different when you sit down with someone, of course, but to a small detail, what they think he needs to do. So I'm sure he's heard everybody's opinion, and he'll make the decision that he feels, of course, is right for him.
And you've come under slightly a bit of fire about comments about your training, about your comments about coaches and trainers in this country. Now, I think I understood what you meant when you said it. A few people, I think, online have obviously took it how they want to, because that's the nature of social media. Can you just clarify the comments you made in relation to, lazy coaches and stuff like that, and the hard work that you put in? Like I said, from my point of view when I read it, I don't think it was directed at anyone, but you sort of explain from your point of view what you meant by it.
No, the thing is, if I've got something to say, I'm going to address that person. And I've done it before in an interview where I've had something to say and I've addressed that person. I didn't have it to say about anybody specific, and I don't know if I said UK or the topic was UK, but I mean boxing worldwide. The level of coaching compared to other elite sports does not match up. When you look at elite basketball, elite American football, elite football / soccer, whatever you want to call it, boxing is far behind. Just look at the facilities, things like film study, scouting reports, specific warm-up drills. All of these are very bog standard in these other sports, even at high school level, but not standard in elite level boxing. So in my opinion, coaching in boxing, and I'm a boxing coach, is far behind other elite sports. In terms of the lazy, what I mean is luck is when opportunity and preparation meet. Yeah. So opportunities come by, but people are prepared because they've worked hard and done everything that needs to be done to be able to snatch that opportunity when it comes by. You get guys that, what I meant was, you got guys that have been in it 34 years. He got lucky because he got to coach him. He got lucky because he got to coach him. This guy got lucky because he worked with him, and that's how he got his name. But the reality is, the opportunity came and they was prepared and was able to take it. There's guys that have been in it for 30, 40 years, and maybe they've not had their opportunity come by yet. Maybe they're prepared, but the opportunity's not come by yet, but it will come by. There's other guys, the opportunities have flown by, and not been prepared. Not been prepared. And the people whose excuses are, he got lucky, that's and are just not prepared. And these opportunities have come by and passed them by. It's always everybody else's fault. That's what I mean by who's lazy.
And when you look at your resume as well, it's not like you've just got 10 undisputed champions. You've got, obviously, people at different levels, like Leigh Wood's just won the world title, Josh Taylor.
Before that, Lee McGregor won a European title before that.
Yeah, and so on and so forth. Well, listen, Ben Davison, thanks for giving Into Boxing some time. Appreciate it, and fingers crossed we can catch up near fight week.
No problem.
No worries.